It's a good ball played in for Tony Morley. Oh, he's missed it! It is! Pick a ball! Villa in the lead!
Hello, Aston Villa fans, and welcome to the Villa Forever podcast. I am your host, Chad Williams. Please subscribe and make sure to give this video and podcast a thumbs up. And you can find me on all audio platforms, including Apple and Spotify. I'm joined by Aaron Thornton, who is the host of the Football Brief. This is the Avfc Weekly Recap, your weekly dose of Aston Villa news and headlines. On Saturday evening, it finished Wolves 2, Aston Villa 0 in the West Midlands derby. It's West Midlands derby day despair for Aston Villa. And for Aston Villa again, it was another Champions League hangover. Frustrating day for Aston Villa. So everything went wrong, and it's a massive blow to our European football chances, especially getting to Champions League again. I am recording this podcast on transfer deadline day. Yesterday, Aston Villa completed a loan signing on Man United striker Marcus Rashford, and we signed him on loan till the end of the season. How are you, mate? Great to have on the show again.
Thank you for having me back. I'm okay. I'm a lot more calm than I was on Saturday evening and most of yesterday, to be honest. But yeah, always glad to be back on here and doing our therapy sessions to help us get through it. How are you?
Yeah, we're back. Yeah, good. We're back to our therapy session again.
Yeah.
And after that performance, to be honest, I'm really embarrassed, to be honest with you. What I've seen on Saturday. We have to give credit to Wolves there. They were the better team on the day. And I like the way they set up as well. They make it difficult for us. They get their shape really well. And they're really hard to break down.
Yeah, I think you're spot on, mate. I think it's embarrassing from the point of view that we are the biggest Midlands club at the moment, and we wanted to continue the bragging rights and sort of show Wolves why we are where we are and how good we are, especially now that we're in the Champions League. Molinuex been a tricky place for us over the years, and that's like you say, you have to give credit to Wolves because they played well, they set it well, and we just couldn't get over the line. And again, like you rightfully said in the intro, that Champions League fatigue seems to have hit us again.
Yes.
So
I did say like the other day, our stats for Champions League games, we can't seem to back up Champions League victories with a Premier League victory.
it's poor.
We can't seem to do it.
Nope.
I'll just think that game as well. Another missed opportunity again. Look, the results were in our favour.
Yeah.
Bournemouth lost to Liverpool. Obviously, Newcastle lost as well.
Yeah.
So a real chance gone again.
And I know Arsenal won, but Man City losing helps us a bit. And then if West Ham happen to do something against Chelsea tonight, that again, I mean, you look at it two ways. It's either we could have capitalised and been further up, closer to those Champions League spots, or it's sort of as we were because no one's won, if that makes sense. So it's sort of lucky that no one's jumped us because I think we had enough of a gap between us and like Fulham and Brighton. But we need to yeah, we really need to start capitalizing on these moments because we never seem to be able to. You know, it's you think about last season when we could have gone top of the table, we failed, and there's been numerous times this season when we could have won because results have gone in our favour, and we've not done it. So
We seem to do that quite a lot.
yeah,
And
frustrating.
Montague, look, we always lose at Montague. I mean, Wolves now have become, the last few years, a real bogey team.
Yeah,
We
I
just
agree.
can't beat them, especially at their place.
Yeah, I don't know why that is. I mean, Molineux's a good. It's a lovely stadium. You know, it's a good. It's a nice. You know, it's a good. And Wolves is a good club. They're a good traditional club. You know, I have no beef with Wolves. um, but yeah, you're right. I don't know what the issue is with Molineux or the mentality. It's a strange one.
Our granddad was very happy.
I bet he
I'm
was.
seeing him again on Wednesday as well. And he's really giving it a lot of grief.
As a
He gets something off the wall. He gets
I know. I mean, look, give him his time, give him his moment. They haven't got much to shout about these days. So if
Well, I
if a
think
little
that
win against, yeah, if a little win
if they
against
play
Aston
like
Villa,
that,
yeah,
if Wolves play like that, they'll stay up.
yeah, no, yeah, they will, and they've got and now that Cunha's signed a contract extension for them, I think that's a really big move for them. So fair play.
And I noticed in the game as well, Kamara really struggled at centre back. The thing is, Kamara, he's a defensive midfielder. He's not a centre back. So I think he
No.
really struggled. He
Yeah,
looks really uncomfortable.
isn't it weird how? Do you remember we did the preview for Monaco with Baptiste a couple of weeks
That's
back,
it. Yeah.
and he told us about Kamara playing centre back for Marseille, and we were like, "Oh
Yes.
wow, didn't know that." Yeah, and I think that there's reasons why he's moved into midfield. Do you know what? The first game against Celtic, fair enough, he did okay. Don't get me wrong, there was a couple of issues, but he did okay, and it was almost like, okay, he's played there now, he's covered us. Let's
Yeah.
not do that again because we got away with a couple of things. And then against Wolves, like you just said, he got a bit bullied, didn't he?
Especially from Cunha
Yeah.
and Sarabia and Bellegarde. I think that's his name. Yeah, Bellegarde, isn't it?
Yes, the French lad, the one who scored.
Yes, we got the first goal, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know how you say his name, but it was a
I'm not really a fan of playing players out of position in certain aspects.
yeah. I mean, it's this modern day football, isn't it? And modern day footballer, you know, they're expected in a way to play multiple positions, and I think it's better for a squad if you've got a couple of
Yeah.
players who can. But I do think a centre back position is tough, and what I don't understand, Chad, and you might know more, is why you've got the likes of Nedeljkovic, you've got
Yes.
Swinkles, the youngster. And I know they're young, but like they've played in pre-season, they're training in and around the squad
You can
every day.
utilise them, yeah.
Why would you not use them? I don't get. There must be something going on there.
Yeah. I was thinking that because Nedeljkovic, he hasn't not much minutes at all.
He's now gone. He's just signed. He's just gone to Leipzig, RB Leipzig on loan, and they've got an option to buy him as well. So I don't know if Emery's just quite sold on him.
Yeah. I go back to Kamara, but he had a real difficult time. And he got really caught out
Yeah,
a few times when playing it out from the back. I personally thought, why did Bergard not play there? So, they play, although he's in the midfield, but at least with Bergard, he could play in central defence.
I don't know whether. Do you know how when Pau Torres is in the back line, and a lot of what we do starts with Pau Torres because of his passing ability. obviously Kamara is a great passer, so I don't know if that was in his thinking, because if you noticed a couple of times, Kamara would maraud up the pitch and he would, he would make
Yeah.
those sort of like break the line passes, which Pau Torres usually does. But I don't think Bogard can do that. So in my head, that's the only reason why Kamara was there, because aerially he doesn't offer anything, and
Yeah.
physically he's a tenacious guy, but physically against like a powerful forward, he seemed a bit exposed. So that's the only reason I can think Bogard didn't start there. But I agree with you. I don't understand why. I just think,
You know what I personally think? Until the window shuts, I think we need a centre back.
two.
Because the thing is, with Diego Carlos went to the back track. So in that defensive centre back position, we are very short now.
Yeah, Spawn. I couldn't agree more. I think if we don't have a centre back signed before the window closes, what time does it close? By the way, does it close?
Is it
Is it
11 p.m., is it?
Is it 11 p.m. your time? Okay, cool.
Well, no,
Okay.
then I think you can get any deals done by then, I think, yeah.
Yeah, I think if we haven't got a centre back signed, it's worrying. I equally don't want to just rush and get any old centre back.
Yeah,
But
we don't want to rush it, or I don't know.
but it's like we're not really blessed with time now, so I don't know what's going to happen. I know we've been linked with
I'm
that
thinking
Chelsea.
without Mings. We haven't got no Mings either. He's injured.
Yeah, and now that Swinkles, the youth player, he's now gone on loan to Bristol Rovers. So we've got a lot of players on loan, and yeah, you're right. We're very short in the centre back department.
And game as well. Against Wolves versus Villa. I thought the build-up play was far too slow. Like everything we did, it gave Wolves chance to get their shape every time. We should be moving it a lot sharper. But Wolves were not moving it a ball around a lot quicker.
Do you think that's down to fatigue?
Yeah, you can tell, I think, yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, I look at last season. The first season Emery came, and then even last season. And I know last season we were still juggling Europa
Yeah.
Conference in the Premier League, but we just looked that bit sharper. And the pass, like you said, we were quicker. I think Bailey on the right was a real threat and a danger. We just seem to be. I don't mind the build-up play. I think I don't mind how we pass it. I'm not one of these fans who gets
Yeah.
frustrated, but when we do take a long time, and then like you just said, the team then reorganizes, it's really frustrating to watch.
And I've looked with Wolves as well. Their fullbacks cause a lot of problems. Snyder and Aitonore. I can see Aitonore go to a real big club.
He's good. He's
It's a bit like that. It's a bit like the Andy Robertson for Liverpool.
That's a good comparison. Yeah. They were
And they had
threats.
so much space. But getting forward, that was a big issue.
Yeah.
Because in the preview, I spoke to Robbie, who's a radio producer, and he's a Wolves fan. And he actually mentioned in the preview that's where Wolves could hurt us. And he was right.
Yeah, we couldn't deal. Did you see that there was that one moment, I think, where Aït-Nouri was down by the byline, and I think two of our defenders came to get the ball off him, and he just, I don't know, he did some skill and somehow got in between them and wriggled his way out. And I was like, okay, this guy can play.
And Sarabia,
Yeah,
as well.
yeah. Do you know what? I didn't think they did anything overly special, Wolves, but what they did do was very effective, and they just seemed to stick to the basics and frustrate Villa. And I thought, fair play. That was, I think, if they can do that every game or every home game this season for the remainder of the season, they're going to be okay.
And also
yeah.
Morgan Rogers and Watkins, they didn't touch the ball at all. He was worried, really.
Well, Watkins, bless. I know he pulled up with an injury, didn't he? So I don't think he was feeling completely okay for half of the game or the last few minutes of the half.
Injury.
Sorry. Morgan Rogers has this habit of, being a 9, 10 out of 10 one week, and then sort of dropping to like a 5 or a 6 the next week, and that's been a bit of a pattern with him. I do think he's exhausted. I think he does need a bit of a break, but at the minute, because our squad's so depleted, he's going to keep playing, isn't he? So
The thing is, with our squad, we've got a very small squad,
yeah,
and I think that's where the big issue is this season. You look at the likes of Liverpool, the likes of Arsenal, they all do well because they've got big squads and strength in depth. They can bring you replacements who are just as good.
Yeah, they have like 2 players in most positions. To be honest, though, I've got to be honest. At the start of the season, when we signed players and you looked at our squad, and I think for the first time in a long time, we had a fully fit squad, like with Mings back, Buendia back. And actually, on paper, I thought, oh, we actually got a fairly big squad, so this should be okay. And then you think, injuries might account for 2 or 3 players, but again, we've just been really unlucky. It's like a conveyor belt. Like one player comes back, and another one goes out. One comes back, another one goes out. It's like Matty Cash. It is it's part of the game, and you can't use it as an excuse. But it is very frustrating, especially when it's a lot of the same players. You look at Onana, Matty Cash have been out a few times this season. I know McGinn's had a couple of niggles. But it definitely knocks the momentum, and shows you how big of a squad you need to compete in these competitions.
And also in Champions League, physically and mentally draining.
Spot on, yeah.
And it's going to affect the squad. It's bound to. We go back to Newcastle. So last season, when they were in the Champions League, it affected them as well.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Chad. That's a really good point. I mean, you were there. You've been at a couple of Champions League games at home, and you know what the atmosphere is like. And for a player, and a lot of these players haven't played in the competition before, they're going to get themselves so psyched up mentally for the games, and then to then repeat that and try and get that same level of adrenaline back up for a midweek game against Wolves. And no disrespect to Wolves, but it's different, isn't it, to like a Celtic or a Bayern Munich. So I think the mentality is definitely a thing, and I think that's something that Emery's spotted and he's trying to work on it. I mean, he mentioned in his press conference a couple of weeks ago he was doing that, wasn't he?
He was.
So yeah, I think that's a really good point. I think the mentality of it has definitely hit the players a bit this season.
And also, what do you make of Daniel Marlin's performance? I thought the second half, he looked quite good. And he scored that goal that was offside. What do you make of that offside?
Do you want to know the truth?
Yeah.
So the first part of your question, I thought Marlon looked very positive. I thought he looked a danger going forward. I was very impressed with him. And I thought, okay, if anything's going to happen, it's going to be him that will do it. And then the truth is, after that goal got disallowed, I was fuming. So I was meant to be going to IKEA yesterday, and I put it off because the Villa were on. When that goal got disallowed, I said to my wife, I said, you know what? I've seen enough. I turned it off and I said, let's go. So
I don't blame you.
So for the last 15 minutes or 20 minutes of the game, I was on my way to IKEA because I was that annoyed. So yeah, poor for me.
Considering Rogers, he did interfere. And I was saying about the other replay, but I don't think he interfered.
He didn't, Chad. And do you know what? I see so much different media outlets and podcasts, talking about refereeing and how we need to stick by them. And, you don't want to, I don't agree with the Michael Oliver death threats. And, people go way too far with their abuse of referees.
Yeah.
But there's got to be a balance, because that decision was so obvious. Like VAR is there for a reason. Go and tell him to check the screen or check the monitor at least, so it's his own decision, because he would have seen that and been like, okay, do you know what? Actually, he's not interfering. But to take that complete control out of the referee's hands, like I said last week, refereeing in this country right now, or in England,
Standards,
sorry,
inconsistent.
that's the word, inconsistent, Chad. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what. And also, I'm not into too many excuses, but also the Cunha goal. Morgan Rogers didn't get fouled in the build-up, I thought. That's my personal thought.
No, you're right. I saw the highlights of. I saw the second goal go in. I saw the match highlights afterwards, and yeah, again, it was a foul. Great finish by Cunha, by the way. Great goal. Can't take that away from him.
I didn't like his celebration.
What
Celebration.
was it? Was it the contract? Is that what he was doing? He took his top
And
off.
with the walls, that's it.
Yeah.
That's hard to take.
Yeah. But no, yeah, you're right, Chad. There was a few decisions that I thought, I don't quite. I know he's trying to let the game flow sometimes. And Morgan Rogers, by the way, he's got a bit of a nasty side, hasn't he? I didn't realize he's got like 8 yellow cards.
Yeah, I didn't realise that. Yeah, I didn't realise that at all.
Interesting. He's got to be careful. But yeah, no, again, decisions frustrating. But Marlon was, I guess, a shining light in the performance. It's good. I sort of forgot we had him, because he's not really played that much, and because he's been cut tied, I sort of forgot about him. So, yeah.
I'd like to see more of him, I would.
Agreed. And the good thing is he can play up front if needed. So Watkins obviously went off injured, so he can play up top if we need him to. So, yeah.
Let's talk about the next point then. So John Duran has gone to Saudi Arabia, went to Al Nassr.
Yeah.
So what do you make of John Duran leading Aston Villa?
I don't want to say I'm not sad. I'm gutted. I'm gutted because I really liked his personality. I really liked him as a player. I thought he had another 2 years with us. Maybe I didn't expect him to stay for the duration of his contract. I thought that was never going to happen. But I thought maybe another 2 years. Part of me doesn't blame him. He's a young lad from Colombia. He's grown up in fairly rough conditions, so now he's going to set up his family for life. So on that side of things, I understand. And he's young enough to come back to any European league if he continues to progress. And I guess for him, playing with Ronaldo for a season, you're going to have that to say. So there's a lot of reasons why I can see he went. And I think the offer was too much to turn down for Villa, especially in this PSR climate that we are now living in. I think it was, unfortunately, that we're going to see more of that, Chad. A lot of our star players that we don't necessarily want to sell, if the offer's right, then we will see them go. So it's one of, I'm gutted, but do you know what I'm not going to miss? Every single window that there's noise about John Duran leaving and going here and going there. So it'll be nice to have to not have that. There was a lot of noise around him.
His attitude.
Yeah.
All his antics and things like that.
Yeah, I think Emery did a very good job reining him in as much as he did. I do think there was a lot more that happened behind the scenes.
He nurtured him.
Yeah.
Really well.
Yeah. So they're my thoughts on him, really. I'm not too disappointed. I hope he does well in his career. I don't have any issues with him. I think he was just, he saw himself better than Ollie Watkins and expected to start every game, and that was never going to happen, unfortunately. So what are your thoughts on him?
It shocked me a little bit.
Yeah.
The only thing I'm all surprised about, he's only 21 years old. And going to Saudi Arabia, it's a very young age to go out there because I think he had so much potential. He's still young. It's showing that Emery, he would have really keep developing him. His career I think it's the wrong move, personally.
I think that's a very valid point. I think that's the interesting point you make there is development. Like at Villa and in the Premier League and under Emery, you could see he was moving up the levels. I'm very interested to see how he does in Saudi Arabia and
Could be
if he's
interesting.
going to hit. Yeah, do you know what I mean? Because he's definitely his career is like doing this, so it'd be interesting to see if that continues or if it sort of just plateaus and just sort of stops. But we'll see. I don't know the coach there if he's any good. I mean, I imagine he'll be trying to learn off Ronaldo, so that's not a bad role model. But I think Sadio Mane is there as well. So there's a couple of players he can learn off. But yeah, it's career wise, it's the wrong move. Personal wise, I understand it.
He's got his reasons, that's it, personally.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think the Saudi League, in general, the Saudi League, I don't think it's ruined football. Because, it's become mostly about the money over there. And also, the only also about John Girard is in Colombia. So if he's gone over there, he won't get much of a chance at international level.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Because he's not. I don't think he's. I know he gets picked for the Colombia squad, but he's not a starter. I don't think. I think he's always on the bench, or a lot of the time he's on the bench. Yeah, unfortunately, Chad, the Saudi League in the Middle East, they have the money, and we're going to see. I won't go off too much on a tangent, but they are making a claim in most sports now: boxing, golf,
All
football.
boxing, of course, yeah.
So, like, you look at Brighton; they've got that Mitoma, and I think a Saudi club just threw in 90 million euros as a bid. Like, we'll pay this. I mean, Brighton rejected it, which I don't know. I think they probably should have accepted personally, but they have the power just to throw money like that. So it's going to be, and like you said, for players earning money, it's definitely a pull, and it's not one that's going to go away, unfortunately. So we'll see.
Over the years, Chelsea in the Chinese League,
Yeah.
then you're not the MLS.
Yeah.
It's sort of going on like a bit of a cycle.
It is, however, I think the Chinese league went quiet quite quickly. The MLS is still there, but I wouldn't say players are sort of retiring there as much. But the Saudi league, I think that's going to be around for a while. I don't think it's going to slow down. We'll see. But that's our second sale to Saudi. We sold Diaby as well in the summer, and now Duran. So we've sold a lot of players, man, for a lot of money.
And the PSR, at least PSR, those troubles are gone away.
Yeah, and it should mean that in the summertime, well, providing I know we'll touch on January transfers soon, but providing that we don't overspend or spend too much on wages, and I think, and with the Champions League revenue as well, I heard that we've already made around 75 million, I think, which is
It's a lot of money, yeah.
Which is good. So I think that can all add to the balance sheet. So I think come summertime, we should be able to reinvest in the squad a bit more, hopefully. But I don't understand PSR fully, so we'll see.
And hopefully, keep hold of Ollie Watkins.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on the links with him, and also the timing of the link or the bid?
I thought in Arsenal, I thought they had a real cheek to do that.
Yeah,
Especially the timing of it. Because I know he's an Arsenal fan, isn't he?
he's an Arsenal fan, yeah, and so I don't have an issue with Arsenal making a bid because he's an Arsenal fan, he's a good striker, so that's fair enough. But again, Arsenal once again show their lack of class by throwing a bid in on the night of our big Champions League game. Or
They should have done that.
I think they bid before, but it got leaked the night of. I mean, I'm not a massive fan of Arsenal and Arteta, and then that made me dislike them even more. Just classless,
It's going to be interesting what happens.
Yeah, we'll see.
Because
Hopefully, I think okay.
In Watkins, I think it all depends next season if we're the Champions League again. And that always depends on that as well.
That's the thing, isn't it? Now we've been in there one season. Players players like it and have a taste for it. And I mean, us as fans, you know, I'd be lying if I said I don't want to be in it next season. Like, I'd love to be in the Champions League, especially if it's going to be down to 5th place. We have a real good chance of trying to get that top 5. So I think you're right. I think if we don't get it, a couple of players might be looking elsewhere. So it's important.
I mean, John Gerrard, now that John Gerrard's left, with Ollie Watkins now, is the main person to lead the line. And the pressure is off him a little bit more. And it's obviously got Rashford.
Yeah. The pressure's off him. Sorry, go on. Sorry.
But it is off him still. He's the line going to lead the line.
Yeah. And I think it means that other players need to step up more now and get goals. We can't just, like, Ollie Watkins does a lot of, he gets assists as well as goals. So even if there's a game he hasn't scored, he'll still have had an impact in some way. So I think, you know, if he doesn't score, like, I'm not disappointed. I think it just means that other players also need to step up a bit. So the pressure might be on them more than him in that respect. But now that he's injured, I don't know how long he's out for. But, we definitely need other people to step up.
Let's talk about Marcus Rashford.
Ooh.
So what do you make of the signing? You signed him on loan. What do you think about it?
Well, as you know, my good friend Brad over on the Football Brief is a massive Man United fan, and he was telling me for a long time, just have him. We don't want him. Not, you know, he's sort of lost to us now. So, from a Man United point of view, from him, I know that they were sort of at the end of their tether with him. Honestly, mate, the more that I think about it, I think it's a good move for both parties. You know, it's a short-term deal, and Rashford's got a bit of a point to prove. There's a player in there, no doubt. There is a player in there, and if anybody is going to get him firing back to his best, I think Emery can, mate. You know, I look at, since Emery's come in, you look at the likes of John McGinn, Matty Cash, Ollie Watkins, who have all raised the bar. I know some people are going to disagree about Matty Cash, but I think he's improved a lot. You know, Emery's got a real good skill with man management and coaching players. Like, he's a proper coach. So I think if Rashford listens, and I think, you know, if he comes into this squad, he needs to have expectations of, right, you know, this is a squad where we listen to what the manager says. We're not going to be disobeying. We're not going to be lazy. We're a real squad here. There's a togetherness about us. So he's got to buy into that. And if he doesn't, I mean, I think Emery will show him the door pretty quick. But if he buys into it, I think it could be a really smart move. I really do.
Marcus Rashford, he's got a point to prove. After what Ruben Amorim said about him, saying that his goalkeeping coach, his 63-year-old goalkeeping coach, could do better.
Yeah, I saw that. It was a bit of a cheeky dig, wasn't it? Yeah, that's it. He's got a point to prove, and I think, I don't know, with Rashford, I've never not liked him. I just think, you know, he just blows hot and cold, doesn't he? So 1 minute he can be scoring 30 goals a season, the next minute he's gone missing. So if he's playing, what position do you think he'll play? Where can you see him in the squad?
What the Emery likes about him, he's a versatile forward player. So you can either play him, but obviously left wing.
Yeah.
You got right wing, or even a central striker. So it'll be interesting where he plays. Or even Watkins.
I mean, you think about that squad, though. I look at Ramsey at the minute. Jacob Ramsey's hitting some fine form. You think with Ramsey, Rodgers, Watkins, Rashford, like, that's a really, really threatening front four. Like,
it is.
So, I mean, I don't know what combination, but I mean, those four in some capacity on the same pitch, on paper, should be a nightmare for most defenders. So, and they're all English. They can all speak to each other. They all know each other. So it's quite a nice. It could be quite a nice bit of chemistry there. And Rashford needs a bit of confidence, and if he's got people around him that he knows and can speak with, it should help him. So, look, I've got a bit of there's a slight concern from me that he might not work out. But end of the day, it's a short term loan. If he doesn't work out, he goes back. So I think. It's a fairly good move for both parties.
So with Emery, then he could rejuvenate Rashford's career.
Yeah.
With Emery, what he likes to do? He gets the best out of the players.
Yeah. You've got to work hard in an Emery team, and I think that might be another reason why we look so tired, because the demands every game. We need to be. It's a high press sometimes, or like mentally, he likes players to really stick to the game plan, which takes a lot of thinking, a lot of brain power. So I think Rashford coming in, he's a smart player. Rashford, he's an intelligent guy. He's not stupid. So I think it could be a real good tactical move for him, and if he buys into the strategy and the game plans, then it could be really, really good for us. He just needs to, Emery doesn't like lazy players. Look at Leon Bailey. We used to complain as a fan base that he never went back. Now he tracks back all the time. So he's just got to buy into into Emery's way of thinking. If he does that, he'll be all right.
And in an Emery team, if you don't work hard, you're not playing. Simple as that.
Simple as that, mate. And I think as well, Rashford probably got an eye on the England squad now with Tuchel coming in. So he probably wants to be in and amongst that. So he really needs to, for himself, Villa's Villa. We're always going to be here, and we're going in the right direction, whether we have Rashford or not, in my opinion. So this move's for him. Obviously, if he scores and helps us win this game, that's going to benefit Villa. But if he wants, England squads and to be back in the picture of being a star striker or a star player, he's got to put the work in.
And what do you think? In the FA Cup against Spurs, maybe that could be his chance to show it. Can
he play?
I don't know. Will he be registered?
I think he'd be registered, but I didn't know. How players can be cup tied. I don't know if. I know there used to be a rule
cup tie.
But I don't know.
Oh yeah, of course. Good on United, yeah. Yeah, of course, yeah, play cup.
But he might be able to. Interesting to see. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing him playing. It's going to be weird seeing him in a Villa kit.
Yeah, it's going to be weird, yeah. I don't think Rashford. Look, who knows? I mean, him and Ollie Watkins, they can play together.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about the last point.
Yeah.
Transfer window, the deadline tonight. And what do you think as well? We are missing leaders in our team. So would you say at the moment we are missing leaders in our team?
Yes, I agree. I know we've got McGinn back. I think McGinn does. I think McGinn's a good leader in terms of his application on the pitch and how he gets around and his drive. Players look at him and think, okay, I want to be. He sort of sets the standard and sets that bar. Vocally, I think he's getting better. I think he's a lot more talkative on the pitch. I don't think he used to be that talkative. Obviously, Tyrone Mings is a big talker who I do think we miss a lot.
Very vocal.
Very vocal, yeah. I do think we miss that. In terms of the back line, I do think he organises it to a point. Leaders. I think Watkins can be a leader, but again, he goes a bit quiet if he's not having the best of games. So, yeah, I do agree with you, Chad. I think, how do you rectify that though? Do you just do you bring somebody in? Do you think that there needs to be a bit more accountability for players on the pitch? I look at people like Tielemans. I think he can step up. I look at Martinez. I mean, he was on Instagram last night saying, "Look, bad performance from me. I'll be better." So he's taken
Oh, yeah.
accountability, which is good. Um,
That's what
so I
they
think,
need to do. They'll take responsibility, I think. So we can do that, I think, as well.
yeah. It's I think we have the potential in the squad for sure. I think those players are in there, but it's about just sort of them stepping up now.
Yeah.
So
Go look at leaders in our team. You got lots of Martinez.
yeah,
You got Tyrone Mings, John McGinn. You got maybe Andrew Conser.
Konza's a good one. Konza's a good one. Yeah, I do think like with Konza, his performances sometimes go under the radar. He's so consistently good that we don't always speak about him. However, if I was him now, I'm looking at this back line. Like he is the established lead. He is the established centre back and defender. I know you got Luca Dean on the left, but I do think, especially being in the middle, like Konza can really step up and sort of grasp the moment himself and be like, "Do you know what? I'm gonna take the reins here and sort of be that leader and be that commanding voice." So I would like to see maybe a bit more from him in terms of not his playing style, but just his leadership sort of qualities. Um, so he may be one.
We need somebody who keeps organisation. And with a team on the road, somebody who lifts the team, the spirits.
Yeah, I think. But then I guess that's where you look at your role model. I think leadership can be. You look at leadership, and it can be. You can either be vocal, you can be physical, you can set by example, or just be a role model. So I look at like Watkins, and I look at even Rashford coming in. Now I know there's a lot of noise around him, but as somebody who has, dabbled in the political, and there was a big story with him helping feed the kids over COVID, which is amazing, and being a,
Right, yeah.
being a being a voice for people. And I know that there's an argument that it was a distraction, but you look at that and think, well, that's a real. He's somebody in that moment. He's a role model, and as a younger player, I think I want to look to him and I want to be. I want to be like that. I want to be as thoughtful, and I think on the pitch it hasn't always gone as well for Rashford. But as a person, as England international, plays for Manchester United, like he can be a really good role model if he just applies himself. So I think we've got enough in our squad. They just need to step up,
Yeah.
mate. That's what they've got to do.
Oh, we
Yeah.
need as well. You like a strong character, but in the dressing room, to improve our mentality, I think. A lot more.
Who do you think? So if we could transfer somebody, if we could buy someone today, who fits that sort of criteria of what you just said, sort of leader, that sort of big character, who does that look like to you?
I don't think we can get with it. But we need someone like for example, you look at Nottingham Forest. Not somebody like Marilla. Obviously not here. Somebody similar. That type of player.
That's a really good. That's a good one. That is someone like that. That sort of aggressive. Yeah, I don't know who I. Forest are a good example
Yeah.
of having leaders around the pitch. I like their number. Is number 8? Is it Anderson? Elliot Anderson. I think they got him from
Oh,
Newcastle.
yeah, brilliant.
He's good.
Who do you think that we can sign?
Realistically, that we could sign someone like that. I think Murillo's a great shout. I think we just need someone. Okay, I like that Anderson. Someone like him. I quite like, Palace. I don't mean so Mateta. I know he's a forward. I don't mean getting him, but like
What you
he's
mean?
he's very like he's so explosive and so animated. He sort of bosses players around a bit. Someone like him maybe, or that sort of aggression. Um, I think we need someone like that in a centre back position, but I don't know who's available. That Tomori from AC Milan. I thought he
You
might
know
be
what?
available,
We could get him.
but I don't know if
Yeah,
him, Mark Guay from Palace, decent,
yeah, he's decent actually.
but Palace won't sell, so but he'd be good.
Well, hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll get a centre back. It's sort of physically strong. Get sort of physical presence.
Are
Really,
you going to
somebody
be?
who's cool.
Yeah, yeah. Are you going to be watching Deadline Day?
Yeah, I'm watching it definitely. And fingers crossed, we get one more deal.
There was we were linked with. Well, I thought the deal was pretty much done for Asensio from PSG as well.
Well, that'll be a good deal if we could get that done.
I mean, I don't know where he's going to play, but at this point, he'll have to play centre back. But I know that deal. I think that deal's close. I know the centre back we were looking at is the guy from Chelsea, Dissecting, but he wants to come, but Chelsea are blocking the move and they're trying to shift him to Tottenham. So I don't know how that's going to develop over the day.
The one thing about Rashford, it's about his wife, but his wages that we're paying, it's 74%. Also, his wages, it's so high, isn't it?
Yeah, we're paying a lot of his wages. I think, we're in a position where we'd shifted so many players and their wages that we could do that. Obviously, it's not a model that I think we want to emulate and repeat. A lot of people are saying, "Oh, it's like Coutinho." It's a
Yeah.
bit different. It's a bit different to Coutinho, and as a club, we've moved forward in terms of the finances, and we've like I say, we've sold a lot of players and got a lot of players off the wage bill. So I think we can afford it. Otherwise, we wouldn't have done it. But it is a bit of a weird one. It's not. It doesn't look great, does it? I mean, he's on a lot of money, and if he did, say, if he wanted to come permanently, say, if he decides end of the
Oh,
season, you
yeah.
know what, we want to make it happen. I imagine they're going to have to negotiate his wages down because I think he's on about 300 and something £1,000 a week. But I think our highest earner is about 150 to
Wow.
180.
It's lots of money.
So interesting, but I think we were a bit desperate not desperate, that's probably the wrong word, but I think we needed to get a couple of players over the line after selling, Duran, Buendia, Philogene. That's 3 attacking players gone. So we needed people in. And Rashford, like I say, if we get the Rashford that we all know, then he could be a real threat to the teams.
And I want to mention as well, going back to the Wolves game,
Yeah.
what did you make of Andres Garcia? His performance?
That's a good question. I was surprised that he was in the starting lineup, but I wasn't against it. I thought, okay, well, he's a right back. We bought you for a reason. So Matty Cash is obviously injured. That also made me think further that there's an issue with Nedeljkovic that Emery's not keen on because he just didn't even give him a go. So Garcia, he looks okay. He looks all right. He seems to be getting forward a lot. And look, throwing him into a West Midlands sort of derby.
It's a difficult game to be thrown into.
Difficult game, yeah, and it's going to be fast paced. So I think for the time he was on the pitch, he did okay. There's a lot more to come from him. So I thought he was all right. What about you?
I think the only thing I would say is for his confidence. Then he got took off in the second half. So hopefully all he plays, he'll get his confidence up.
Yeah,
But from what I observed there, I enjoyed what I watched. He kept getting forward. He's got a reliable player. Quite good with the ball at his feet as well.
yeah. What did you think of that half time, those 4 substitutions coming on, what did you make of that? Do you think Emery was angry?
I think
Or just
Emery was
maybe,
fuming. Yeah,
yeah.
Emery was absolutely fuming, I think, yeah. He was not happy.
No, I mean, I rate it. I think he realised that the system wasn't working, so he thought, you know what, I need to completely change this. And for the most part, we came out a lot better, a lot more positive.
Yeah,
I thought Bailey
the
looked
second
okay.
half. We were a little bit better in the second half. Slightly, a little bit better, I think.
Yeah, just a little bit. Yeah.
Just
But
showing that
no,
we lost the Wolves.
I know. Well, look, we went back at our place, so look, it's not
At
like
least we, yeah.
they've not done the double over us. That could be worse. We wouldn't hear the end of it, would we, if they did the double? So,
Because in
yeah.
Wolves, it's like a Dead Cup final
Yeah.
playing Villa.
I mean, look, it was good for them because they're out of the relegation zone. I mean, it's looking like now, isn't it? It's looking like your Southampton, Leicester, and Ipswich.
Oh, yeah.
I think Southampton definitely. Ipswich, I mean, they're looking like they're going to struggle now. And
And
Leicester,
Leicester.
they're a bit flaky, aren't they, Leicester? So I don't know. Everton are back. They're done now. I think Moyes has got them
Well,
firing
David
again.
Moyes, yeah. Oh, really right, Moyes. You're
Yeah,
good. Again.
He's a good manager. Yeah.
Well, I enjoyed that therapy session.
Oh, I feel lighter already. I feel like the weight is off my shoulders. Thank you.
Well, you've been a great guest again. We're enjoying his
Thank you, mate.
weekly recaps.
No, so do I, mate. Really, I genuinely do think it helps. Sort of when you talk about a loss. I mean, I know we're losing a lot at the minute, but when you talk about the loss, you talk it through methodically. It sort of helps you rationalize everything a bit more. And I think, but I come out at the end of it like, okay, actually, do you know what? We'll go again next week.
Well, we're going to bring this episode to a close.
Cool.
Thank you, everyone, for watching. If you enjoyed this podcast, please make sure to subscribe if you haven't. Make sure to give it a like. Smash the like button. And give it a share. Make sure to give us a good review on our audio platforms, including Spotify, Apple, Amazon Music. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Thank you so much, Aaron, for your time.
Thank you for having me. Always a pleasure.
I'm going to wrap up this episode with Villa Forever and Up the Villa.